You're just in time for NTV tonight, and we start with the global outlook on the coronavirus pandemic. And so far, 5.1 infections have been registered internationally, with over 331 lives claimed. And in the continent, we have over 99,000 infections, with over 3,000 fatalities on the continent. And in the most affected, that is the United States, over 1.6 million infections have been recorded there, with over 95,000 lives claimed. Other stories that we can anticipate tonight. Tonight, Kibra may soon be placed under containment as Kenya hits a new record of COVID-19 positive results in a day. It may get worse.
We have recorded the highest number yet again at 80.
In which case we'll be reporting about 200 plus cases per day.
The government responds to the church's prayers. Plus, testing 1, 2, testing vaccines. Will the dream come true?
We go in with a lot of hope that we'll be able to develop an intervention, and we want to believe that a vaccine will be found soon.
Kenya looking for a solution to the coronavirus disease. Also tonight, Jubilee, a party apart, with the iron fist rule growing the rift.
We are being led back to a gunpoint, to a place we swore never to visit again.
It is my work as a whip to enforce discipline in the party.
Senators directed to attend voting session and ensure they kick out Kithure Kindiki as deputy speaker. And the stadiums and their track records, another one to be built in Kisumu.
We were directed by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta to put up a stadium on those grounds.
Another performance in the theatre of promises or pronouncements that will be tangible on the ground.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai.
Once again, thank you for choosing NTV Tonight, and Floratino is our sign language interpreter. To our top story, the new areas of concern in the country in regard to COVID-19 infection and transmission is Kibra. The government is looking at implementing measures similar to those in Eastleigh and Old Town in Mombasa. This comes as the country registers the highest number of people infected with COVID-19 in under 24 hours. The Ministry of Health says that the numbers will continue to rise.
Targeted COVID-19 testing continues in various parts of the country as higher numbers both in tests and infection outcomes are registered. Kenya has recorded its highest number of people who have tested positive in 24 hours. The government warns that the peak season is coming and the daily numbers could more than double today's.
Today, we have recorded the highest number yet again at 80, from a sample size of 3,102. This is the largest sample size tested so far. The trend demonstrates that the larger the sample size, the more the positive cases. Today's positive cases brings the total to 1,109.
We project now our peak will be around August, September, in which case we'll be reporting about 200 plus cases per day. That is if we continue with the measures and the interventions that we put in place today.
The capital city and Mombasa remain key areas of concern. Various estates have been listed as being among the affected, and this time Kibera is being cited as a growing point of concern.
We had 13 cases in Kibera. And when we read these figures, I know that there is some who make a lot of funny jokes about these things in Twitter and other places. Actually, the reason for doing so is to let those people in those areas know that there are infections there so that they can guard themselves.
Dr. Patrick Amoth says that Kibera is likely next in line for a cessation of movement order given the spread which has gone beyond the county with impunity to boot.
Somebody in Kibera without the authority to authorize anybody to travel, signed a document that allowed and was respected by police all the way from Kibera, taking mourners for a funeral in Siaya.
Mischievous behavior such as crossing counties on lockdown, failing to put on masks and defying curfew are some of the reasons why the age group between 18 and 39 are of concern.
When people think that you are being very clever to escape or to hide and cheat and do all sorts of things so that you can take a body home, you know, it's like biting your nose to spite your face.
The porosity of roadblocks is coming to the fore all the more. Truck driver who traveled from South Sudan to Kutus, Kirinyaga County, tested positive for COVID-19. He was, however, in Kirinyaga when the results came out.
I don't expect that somebody can be tested and then you are able to go to the other border without the results.
This has led to a 4-day closure of Joymax maize milling factory in Kutus, where he was delivering maize to. Further, the Ministry of Health had announced a COVID-19 patient had been recorded in Makueni County, but it has emerged that this is not the case and was as a result of what is yet again appearing to be a lapse in management.
Kwa hivyo kufika Emali, karibu na Emali kwa Makueni, ndipo alipigiwa simu na ikajulikana kwamba yuko Emali, na akaambiwa kwamba yeye imegunduliwa kwamba ni mgonjwa. Kwa hivyo akaamua mwenyewe arudi Mombasa.
All the same, Kenyans have been called upon to act accordingly so as to win the war.
This war cannot be fought by the government alone. This war is not one where tanks and bullets and other armory that we have works. This war can only be won by individuals in their houses, individuals in their offices, individuals in the streets, individuals in markets, individuals in densely populated areas who take measures to ensure that they are protected and they are protecting others.
Charity Mwangi, NTV.
With that grim outlook, there is a glimmer of hope as scientists at the Kenya Medical Research Institute in Kilifi County are currently working on several potential vaccines together with other research institutions targeted towards fighting the spread of the coronavirus. They say that there is a total of 21 samples of the vaccine being generated by different institutions with hopes of finding one soon. Kevin Mutai reports.
The Center for Geographic Medicine Research in Kilifi County is a center for hope in the ongoing global efforts to finding a COVID-19 vaccine.
Samples that we have that are positive for SARS-CoV-2.
Over 60 scientists have been working in collaboration with other research institutions, both locally and internationally, to come up with the antidote. Some of the doctors reveal that at least 21 experimental vaccines are currently at different development stages, hoping to fast-track its production to be ready for human trials.
Is there a possibility of maybe coming up with a vaccine to fight this pandemic?
We go in with a lot of hope that we'll be able to develop an intervention, and we want to believe that a vaccine will be found soon. The testing process itself takes long because you have to ensure that it works, but at the same time that it is safe to use in human beings.
Once you receive those approvals, it goes through a series of phases of trials. So you start in a small number and then you scale up to a larger number. In the small number, you're looking at safety. How safe is that vaccine in our population?
They also indicate that the virus has been mutating, but have been tracking the changes, which they describe it as similar to the strain of the virus found in Europe, China and other Western nations.
The virus is not changing very much. When we look at the differences between the sequences that we've picked up here in Kenya and those in Europe, there's still quite a large number of similarities between the viruses.
KEMRI in Kilifi County has been among the main institutions testing coronavirus samples in the coast, But there is a concern over the inadequate reagents needed to meet the targeted mass testing, as the pressure is on to increase the capacity.
But we have also had to mobilize reagents that we had already acquired for other research that we were doing.
Even with the search for a possible vaccine, doctors maintain that their focus is squarely on fighting the spread of COVID-19. Kevin Mutai, NTV in Kilifi County.
Former Assistant Minister for Housing Margaret Wanjiru is currently in intensive care unit after she was diagnosed with COVID-19. The Bishop of Jesus is Alive Ministries is in stable condition, and all her contacts have been traced and taken into quarantine. She is the latest prominent individual to be diagnosed with the disease. Reports indicate that she hosted a prayer meeting at her house, and one of those who attended tested positive. After this, contact tracing was done, and the bishop alongside 7 others were found to be positive. As the bishop gets treatment, the government is in consultation with religious leaders in the country to come up with modalities of reopening places of worship across the country amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. A number of challenges were identified in the initial meeting, which included cabinet secretaries from the Interior, Health and Education ministries.
See what is happening elsewhere in the world. Can it guide you and moderate your request?
Draw the scenario for reckless individuals who will, as soon as you have given the proposal and have started, become reckless and abuse it. Consider that too in the proposal, so that you are saying, these people we can contain, we are prepared to take responsibility up to this extent, and then tell us how to engage and how to deal with individuals who are reckless.
If you actually were able to have a clear identification documentation on your own, we can make it easier by giving a cable and a standardization procedure for the roadblocks. And government will do everything possible to facilitate our religious leaders when they are either recording services or they are moving around to counsel small groups and pray with small groups of people as they observe social distance.
There is another outbreak being fought. The government says that at least 13 people have died owing to a cholera outbreak in parts of the country, most notably the north. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutai Kagwe says that over 500 people are battling the illness, majority of whom are children. With 12 of the deaths being listed as being from Masai County, the county government insists that it only has a record of 2 deaths, as they are the only ones that have been recorded in the health facilities. At least 23 people had previously been reported to have died owing to the cholera outbreak in the neighboring town of Bubua, which is in Ethiopia. On the ground, people say that those who tested positive in the one of the worst cholera outbreaks in Marsabit did not get immediate government attention. These are more than the so-called the numbers that are being given by the government. Now, at least 200 Kenyans were forced to seek treatment into Ethiopia despite cessation of movement in and out of the country.
To diseases because of the ongoing rains and flooding in certain parts of the country. We had a cholera outbreak that started off in Garissa and gradually made its way through 3 other counties, namely Wajir, Turkana, and Murang'a, before being reported in Marsabit on the 24th of April 2020. The collaboration of the public health teams from the local county governments and the Ministry of Health is working to control the reported 550 cases, out of which 268 are in Marsabit, while 222 in Turkana County.
Households in Nairobi that are experiencing water shortage can only expect resumption of services in the next 2 weeks. Thousands of households have recently had their taps run dry, and this has been attributed to the heavy downpour, ironically, and landslides which have blocked the water pipes. The crisis is exposing thousands of individuals to the lurking dangers of COVID-19. The Water Service Providers Association claims it has set up 600,000 clean water stations in Kibra in Nairobi, Kachonjo, Mombasa, and Nyagacho in Kericho for Kenyans to wash their hands.
Tunahitaji bilioni 1 na milioni 700. Na unakuta sehemu kubwa inaenda katika kulipa mishahara kama milioni 900. Kuna milioni 250 inaenda kulipia nguvu za umeme. Kemikali tunahitaji pia, kama tunaambiwa maji lazima yawe safi. Na katika ule usafi kuna dawa ambazo tunatumia kama chlorine, ile inafanya disinfection. Sasa utakuta dawa hii haiko katika taifa hili, tunatoa nchi za ng'ambo.
With the challenges of water in Nairobi, there is a laudable initiative in Kibra that Seth Olale managed to track, and we'll be getting to see that in a few minutes. But in another development of the day, a family in Bureti constituency, Kericho County, is demanding for justice after their kin was shot by a police officer during the enforcement of the curfew law. Hilary Kirui, a clinical officer at Tenwek Mission Hospital, was shot by an officer while he was allegedly on his way home from work. Bureti OCPD Felician Tengeye says Kirui was hit by a stray bullet as the police officers were dispersing rowdy youth who were defying the police orders to go home. Clinical officers from Tenwek want the police officer who fired the shot to be brought to book.
Our colleague is being, treated with an operation to repair the fractured side around his femur, and soon will come out from theater. And of course, he is in deep pain, and even for that reason, we are not happy.
We are not going to leave any stone unturned. We are going to do what is necessary against the officer who did that. We are sorry to what happened, and we are asking for forgiveness to what happened.
Hopefully this is enough trigger for justice for the family. Condolences to those who lost their loved one. With 20 minutes past the hour, we take our first break here on NTV Tonight. We'll be back shortly.
The risk of illness-causing germs is increasing. It is believed that the coronavirus can remain on surfaces in your home for up to 9 days. Touching infected surfaces is one of the ways in which germs spread. Regularly disinfect your floors, countertops, and kitchen surfaces with bleach, and use an effective toilet cleaner inside and outside your toilet bowl. This message is brought to you by Medifacts, JIC, and Harpic.
All day, we expect our mouth to do all kinds of things. That is why it needs all-round protection. New Oral-B Pro Health toothpaste. Its advanced technology helps prevent both tooth holes and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your teeth, giving them all-round protection. Because your mouth is doing more than you think. New Oral-B Pro Health. All-round protection for your whole mouth.
Buy fresh mboga, vegetables, foodstuffs, meat products, bakery products, detergents, all clothing and footwear, books, board games, gym accessories, households and cookery online. Kindly visit tuskys.dpo.store to place an order and get delivered to your doorstep.
Shop online and pay with your Visa card securely for groceries and other essentials, e-learning subscriptions, online entertainment subscriptions, as well as all other bills online. With Visa, you can make payments online using your Visa card in 3 easy steps. Simply go to the checkout page, select Visa card, enter your card information, and your purchase is securely completed. Safe is smart. Visa, everywhere you want to be. Terms and conditions apply.
The
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
It's me, Agatha. All right, I'll give you the money. But only to you, and not to Rocco. I don't trust that guy.
Where's Ginny? She's been staying with her mother's close friend. She'll be safe there. I need to finish whatever we started, Dad.
So where's the money?
I have it with me. I'm not giving Fabian the money. Just to you.
As soon as I get the money, I want you to finish off Adele.
What about Fabian?
I'm going to do what has to be done.
We can be strong together because we're sisters. This is so thrilling.
Aren't you all done yet?
Yes, we're done. Sisters!
Invest in Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Luxury you can afford. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Welcome back. And just before we took the break, we looked at the water shortage crisis in Nairobi, and the fight against COVID-19 pandemic faces a serious setback with the ongoing water rationing in the county. However, in Kibra, a solution is trickling in, with several residents being able to distribute the scarce commodity within their neighborhood. NTV's Setolale went to find the source of the solution.
Peter Ndamboki from Gatukira in Kibra slums has seen a lot of people come and go in the name of lending a helping hand in the 25 years he has lived here. Not a majority of the help has left them better off. But as a Juakali artisan and a father of 9, a solution has been brought that will help his trade and family through the form of free-flowing water.
Watu ni wengi, imeokoa majamii wengi sana. Kwa saa hii umesikia City Council wako na uhaba wa maji. Nimeshuhudia vijiji zaidi ya 6 hapa, wale wanatoka mbali wanakuja kuchota maji hapa. Laini inatoka hapa mpaka huko juu.
Food, water and shelter are among essential needs that the over 200,000 Kibra residents need. But provision of clean water during these hardship times occasioned by COVID-19 is a huge welcome for the population here.
Availability and distribution of free water in one of the country's biggest informal settlements could not have come at a better time when the nation is at war with the coronavirus pandemic.
Tena upande ya kufua tunachota tu maji na tunafua kwa nyumba huko. Hiyo imetusaidia sana. Tena upande ya toilet imetusaidia. Juu sasa kwa saa hizi hakuna pesa kabisa.
The filtration system that was set up in 2014 enables the available water that would have gone to waste to be repurposed mainly from hand washing points and showers.
The water goes through the filtration system that basically is an AA system. An AA system basically helps us reduce the fluoride content in our water before we give it out to the people. In addition to that, we do chlorinate our water so as to ensure that it's pathogen free.
Residents may not fully grasp the technology behind it, but they feel the change it has brought.
We are serving currently about 2,000 people a day for toilets and showers. And we're also serving close to about 1,200 people a day with our free water services. And they're mostly from the community around Gatekwera. I would say we directly impact about 80,000 residents of Gatekwera. Out of that 80,000, we're looking at 16,000 households. And within those 16,000 households, 6,000 are school-going children. And about 1,000 small businesses like the ones you see around here.
The multi-sectoral project is powered by a solar system with the main electricity line as backup. This is being used as a prototype with the aim of replicating the process of recycling water elsewhere for thousands more to benefit, like Ndamboki and his family. Seth Olale, NTV.
That is a worthy cause and initiative. Thanks to Setholale, we'll be able to hopefully have it replicated to other parts of the country where it's needed most. To some politics now, Senate Majority Leader Irungu Kang'ata has dispatched a letter to all the Jubilee senators, directing them to attend and vote in favor of the removal of Kithure Kindiki as Senate Deputy Speaker. Tomorrow's vote will further point to the rift in Kenya's leadership, which has been reiterated by legislators allied to Deputy President William Ruto, who have accused President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration of harassing and frustrating them due to their affiliation to the DP.
This Friday, the Senate will hold a special sitting seeking to remove Kithure Kindiki as Deputy Speaker. Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kang'ata sent out letters to each of the 38 Jubilee Party senators, directing them to support the motion. He says the party has lost confidence in Kindiki and is therefore in support of his ouster. He ends his letter by saying that the senators must attend and vote in line with the party position.
This kind of motion is what we call a special motion. It is not a requirement that you put in grounds. It is what is called a confidence vote.
Legislators allied to Deputy President William Ruto have termed the purge as a move to subdue Parliament. The more than 10 legislators are accusing President Uhuru Kenyatta and his supporters and systems of frustrating them and violating their rights based on their political affiliation.
We are being led back to a gunpoint, to a place we swore never to visit again, by people who swore to defend and uphold the Constitution.
That they will bring these BBI changes to Parliament. But before they do that, they have to shoot us from the Air Force, from the air, up there. It's all geared to intimidate members so that when that report comes to this house, people can vote a certain way.
President is the boss. Why can't he call the deputy? Because the deputy cannot call the president. The president can call the deputy. Na zungumzia wana Kenya awaambie huyu mtu tumekosania hii na hii tusikie so that we can be able to assess.
But Kang'ata has dismissed them.
It is not true. This is a very democratic party. We do not harass anyone. But when we have a situation where our own party members are constantly criticizing His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, constantly campaigning, constantly abusing the party, it is my work as a whip to enforce discipline in the party.
45 senators are required to successfully remove the deputy speaker from office. Kindiki is now on borrowed time as Kang'ata has already annexed 48 senators supporting the ouster. The purge in Parliament is seen as President Kenyatta's move to stamp authority in Parliament as he seeks to secure his legacy. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Irungu Kang'ata whipping the Jubilee senators into order, and I may have undeservedly promoted him to majority leader and not majority whip. Hopefully it won't be taken to court for that, but let's go to the courts in action today. The court today failed to sit and hear an application by former sports CS Rashid Echesa, where he was seeking the release of his firearm and a motor vehicle. In a reply to Echesa's application, the police said that the vehicle in question is still part of the crucial evidence in the ongoing case. In an affidavit filed in reply to Echesa's application, one of the investigators stated that the vehicle is not registered in the former CS's name, as an NTSA search revealed the vehicle was registered under Rashid Shabir Malo, who is set to record a statement with the investigation team. The investigation officer further claimed that he has not received a reply from the chairman of the Firearm Licensing Bureau on the verification of the firearms. Now, 3 police officers attached to Kamukunji police station have been charged with aiding the escape of a remandee on the 13th of May this year. The suspect, who is a Ugandan national, had been charged with kidnapping a police officer, Constable Abel Misati, and intent to murder. The 3 cops denied the charges and were released on a 50,000 shilling bail or a 200,000 shilling bond plus surety each. Meanwhile, 2 employees from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission were today arraigned before Chief Magistrate Douglas Ogoti, facing bribery charges. The duo is accused of receiving a 110,000 shilling bribe from a traffic officer who was under investigation by the Commission. George Imanyala, an officer attached to Kingero Police Station in Kikuyu Sub-County, is the one who allegedly bribed the two officials. They denied the 3 counts and were ordered to deposit a cash bail of 150,000 shillings each or place a bond of 300,000 shillings. From the courts, I jump into a break. Business is up next.
Can you tell Kinyanju to come to my office immediately? Good morning. Good morning. Mimi sipendi unapanguza floor. Hiyo dust uache hapa kwa meza. Clean up. Kinyanju, this is a problem, eh? Next time, uende ununue selector yako, utengeneze sandwich zako, uachane na sandwich za boss.
Selector. The difference is in the taste.
Hii uende weke kwa ile githeri yako, eh?
Welcome to the conferencing service.
Emma, carry on, Ken.
First quarter sales, they're up 90%.
Very good, very good.
We are looking at a 55 billion shilling profit by the end of the financial year.
Now we are talking. Here we talk billions. Very good. I gotta go. Wacha niendelee na kazi.
A person has left the conference.
Niko nyumbani. Downloads are very fast. Streaming, eco. And I'm just working from here. Stay connected and work from the convenience of wherever you are. Fiber to the home.
Working from home? No problem. Fiber Home has you covered with the fastest and most reliable internet speeds. Get connected today. Kazi lazima iendelee.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Selena!
Toto, where's mommy?
Today's a toilet day.
What? Oh.
Selena!
Toilet day?
Tomorrow we're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation.
It's a toilet, not a white shirt. Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with bleach and detergent, it still won't be party ready.
Impossible.
Challenge. Harpic 10X.
Even if you use bleach and detergent 10 times, they won't give you the same sparkling clean toilet that Harpic 10X will give you. Wow!
Harpic 10X. Harpic, Kenya's #1 toilet cleaner.
Welcome to the business news. Tea brokers are set to lose half of the percentage they earn from tea sold at the Mombasa auction. This is one of the things contained in the final regulations that will govern the tea sector. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya says the new regulations will overhaul the sector and improve earnings for small-scale farmers. Lilian Kiarie, has that report.
Value chain players in the tea industry, such as brokers and the privately owned Kenya Tea Development Agency, KTDA, are set to lose billions of shillings following new industry reforms that will see them relinquishing some of the power and influence they have yielded for years. With KTDA processing and marketing 60% of Kenya's tea and a handful of power brokers running the show at the Mombasa auction, smallholder farmers have for years felt that their voices were muffled and the income in their pockets not reflecting their output. Agriculture CS Peter Munya says the new tea regulations will fix the problem.
All teas processed and manufactured in Kenya for the export market, with the exception of orthodox and the purple teas, shall, within 2 months from the date of commencement of these regulations, be offered for sale exclusively at the auction floor. Consequently, sale of tea by private treaty is outlawed.
The mandatory requirement of the automation of the Mombasa tea auction is set to ensure transparency and loosen KTDA's tight grip, as the agency has often been accused of using its dominant position to influence prices at the auction.
KTDA has created all those subsidiaries. Some are even created to buy equipment, the latest. That's what KTDA is supposed to be doing. They are thinking, what other burden can we put on the farmer? Oh, this is farmers' money.
To address the structural challenges eating into farmers' earnings, registered tea brokers have been blocked from offering tea brokerage services to more than 15 tea factories.
The total fees for tea brokers at the auction shall be 0.75% of the gross value of tea sold at the auction, with the Tea Factory Limited Company paying 0.2% and tea buyers paying 0.55% of this amount, respectively.
Proceeds from sale of tea will be required to be remitted to the tea factory company's account within 14 days.
Tea buyers, exporters licensed before the coming into effect of these regulations shall value at least 40% of their annual tea exports in 8 years.
The one-man, one-vote democratic principle in the election of tea directors for tea factories serving smallholder tea farmers has also been effected. Directors for smallholder tea factories will only serve for a maximum of 6 years. The one-third gender rule of directors in a factory will be mandatory, and the agency management services for smallholder tea factory will cost no more than 1.5% of the gross value of teas sold at the auction. The importance of the tea sector cannot be downplayed, noting that last year, tea was the second foreign exchange earning commodity for the country, contributing about 113 billion shillings. Munya has also rubbished claims by all those saying that he's not in capacity to make the reforms, telling those rattled by these reforms to go read the Crops Act, which gives him the mandate to make these changes. Lilian Kiarie, NTV.
Thank you, Lilian Kiarie. I've been accused of calling it Kialie, but hey, it happens even to the best of us. I'm not saying I'm one of the best. But a number of banks have released their first quarter earnings for 2020, which happens to be their last pre-COVID-19 results. Here's Alex Mwangi with a look at the highlights of some of them.
Kenya Commercial Bank has posted a net profit of 6.3 billion shillings for the first quarter of 2020. Up from 5.8 billion shillings at a similar period last year. As a result of the takeover of the National Bank of Kenya by KCB last year, KCB's assets during the first quarter went up by 30.5% from 725.7 billion shillings to 947.1 billion shillings. Family Bank has made a net profit of 298 million shillings for the first 3 months of the year, up 85% from the 161 million shillings it made at a similar period last year. The bank's total operating income went up to 2.1 billion shillings from 1.8 billion shillings. Total operating expenses, on the other hand, increased by 9.6% to 1.7 billion shillings from 1.6 billion shillings. The Board of Directors of Family Bank has approved the payment of an interim dividend of 24 cents per share, subject to withholding tax where applicable, to shareholders on the register at the close of business as at the 11th of June 2020. The Cooperative Bank of Kenya's net profit for the first quarter of the year increased marginally to 3.6 billion shillings from 3.4 billion shillings last year. The bank's total operating income during the 3-month period went up by 1.4 billion shillings to 12.5 billion shillings. Cooperative Bank saw a spike in total operating expenses, which grew by 20.6% to 7.3 billion shillings from 6 billion shillings. The bank attributes the increase to a higher loan loss provision as well as staff expenses. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
Losses from the cessation of movement order given the coronavirus pandemic are starting to come in and be evident as Kamkunji Member of Parliament Yusuf Hassan and his Mvita counterpart Abdul Swamad Nasir says the total lockdown is adversely affecting residents and would like the government to consider relaxing the stringent measures. On its part, the government looks at Islay and Old Town as hotspot areas for COVID-19, given the number of cases of coronavirus patients actually that have been registered from those areas.
Islay has a population of 260,000. The overwhelming majority of its residents are either unemployed or engaged in low-wage informal employment and are struggling to make ends meet. You know, by the government's own statistics, Kamkunji is the neighborhood with the largest number of vulnerable communities and neighborhoods in Kenya. Kamkunji has 235,000 informal settlement residents. It is bigger than Mathare, it is bigger than Kibera, it is bigger than many other places where you would expect to find problems.
It has not worked. I do not see how it is going to be able to work. Kwa sababu walifunga zile wiki mbili za kwanza, lile la kufanya wangelikuwa wanasema ya kwa baada ya kufunga hizi wiki mbili tulikuwa tunadhania tutaweza kufika kiwango fulani ama lengo letu litakuwa ni jambo fulani. Lakini hivi ilivyo wameongeza wiki mbili nyingine.
And that's the end of the business bulletin, not the end of NTV Tonight. More after the break.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because the tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity.
That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate.
Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities
For maximum cavity protection.
and now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
Take the following basic protective measures as guided by the WHO. Clean hands frequently with soap and water. Cover nose and mouth when coughing and sneezing with a tissue or flexed elbow. Avoid close contact with anyone with cold or flu-like symptoms. Seek medical care if you have fever, cough, and difficulty breathing. And avoid raw and uncooked animal products. Help the world put an end to the spread of respiratory diseases. Message brought to you by Detrex Germ Protection Soap.
Credit to you if you stay at home. If you must shop online, use your NCBA credit card. Stay home. Stay safe.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
At Kenya Breweries Limited, we work with over 500 barley farmers in Kenya to locally source 80% of raw materials and grow local businesses to produce quality products. In the last financial year, we paid over 1 billion shillings to barley farmers. Our pride lies in uplifting the lives of farmers as we grow value together.
Welcome back into some environmental concerns, and the Environmental Authority have closed down the Edible Oils Products Limited oil refinery for emitting toxic fumes that residents say have been making them sick. Anita Nkonge has that report.
One of the last things you need right now is a symptom such as a headache, nausea, or difficulty breathing being a red flag for the coronavirus. So you can imagine the anxiety of residents of Eagle Plains Estate in South B when such cases started rising. Thankfully, these were found to be coming from something else.
It's been terrible. You're finding guys with all manner of issues. My own daughter, who's just 6 years old, has her eyes red and puffy and all this. And every time we go to see the ophthalmologist, they're very clear that there's an environmental thing going on.
NEMA have since last week been stationed in their state measuring the air quality in the area after residents signed a petition urging them to look into the matter.
When I came here on Monday last week, it was really... I didn't like the smell. That's why we had to take the action immediately. You could actually even feel getting into headache, nausea, something like that, and it was really not a good feeling. So we brought the equipment immediately.
This, however, is not the first time that edible oils has been flagged as causing toxic emissions.
Was closed last year of air pollution issues, and this year also it seems like there's still emitting they have issue with ambient air quality. So our team found out that the ambient air quality of this place is really wanting. Today we are closing down this facility because they are contravening Air Quality Regulation 2014.
The irony for many of the residents here is that while they're staying home to protect themselves from the coronavirus, a respiratory disease, they're still being assaulted by toxic fumes that are affecting them.
Correlation between air pollution and some of these respiratory diseases. If you are in an environment that's actually polluted and it's within the source of this viral infection, there's a high likelihood that you can get contaminated because of inhaling this kind of air.
This issue of clean air is not confined to South B area. According to the United Nations, about 14,300 Kenyans die every year due to health conditions linked to indoor air pollution. For these residents of South B, they can breathe a sigh of relief, and just to clear the air, every person has a constitutional right to clean air and a healthy environment. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
Meanwhile, the Nairobi Regional Commissioner Wilson Njenga says the government has halted all demolitions in this pandemic period. This is despite there already being an earlier directive on this by the president and a contravention of the same. The capital's police boss has also dismissed reports that alleged demolitions, which took place in Ruai on Tuesday night, are false.
And the land is now in the hands of the Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company in order to proceed with expanding the sewerage. Those pictures are not pictures of this week because there is nothing happening. There are no demolitions. We have said there are no evictions, demolitions during this period until we come out of this problem of the pandemic.
There has been reports of at least 1,500 people being arrested and charged this month over violations of the COVID-19 regulations. Here's one case in point, and there's growing concern over how some leaders are handling the COVID-19 pandemic situation. In Marsabit, there was a meeting at the county police boss's office where there was no social distancing at the event being observed. One MP is set to be arrested.
This will be mistaken for an event held before the coronavirus pandemic hit, but the mass that people have indicated otherwise. This happened within the COVID-19 days, but the physical distance aspect of keeping the disease at bay is itself a concept kept at bay. This is the office of the Marsabit County Commissioner, the senior-most national government official in the county. Food aid is being distributed, and here, the organizers led by former Kajiado County Commissioner, Kello Harsama, defied attempts by junior police officers to impose social distancing.
Hiyo ni sawa. Waambie hawa wajipange. Sasa ile sawa.
Kitu ya kwanza ya kufanya ya kuhakikisha ya kwamba imefanyika ni watu wamesimama kando na wengine, at least 1 meter apart.
The script here is that of preaching water and imbibing fermented brew. Leaders call for vigilance in pandemic war, but then act in contravention of the laid down measures. The failure to ensure social distancing comes in addition to the government's previous call to avoid public gatherings. Police intended to arrest Saku MP Dido Raso last week for violating government directive on social distancing, according to a senior government official. The legislator allegedly evaded the arrest and went to Nairobi to participate in parliament sittings. Apart from violating government directives, politicians are at war of words over how best 180 million shillings allocated for relief food will be used, with concerns over possible corruption as they base this on past experiences.
Watu wa hapa, watu wa jimbo la Marsabit wamesema ya kwamba kulingana na historia ya hii county, chakula ya relief food imeibiwa mara mingi sana, na wamesikia kwamba 180 million imekuwa allocated kwa hii county, na wako na wasiwasi ya kwamba hiyo 180 million nusu itaibiwa na maafisa wa county na nusu wataenda kununua chakula ile imeharibika, ile imeoza huko kwa store. Watu wapewe cash kuliko hiyo chakula imeoza.
However, Marsabit Governor Mohamud Ali has dismissed the allegation, saying that the monies will be spent prudently to help cushion vulnerable communities in the county.
The biggest challenge that we have, sometimes, like when we just passed the supplementary, some people are already very busy in the radio saying, give us money. This money is not readily available in cash.
This happened at a time the cholera outbreak hit and killed at least 23 people in Eldoret. Mamo Ali, NTV, Marsabit.
Mamo Ali's report brings us to our next break, and sports news will be next.
This new pack is available in all leading supermarkets and outlets. It's still the same flour. Pembe yangu ni poa.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizop technology, to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Wahenga walisema hakuna kazi ngumu na hakuna kazi rahisi. Watu kwa ground wakauliza, umejaribu mjengo? Take a moment and think about that. Kazi ya mjengo. The fundi, arguably the literal definition of a hard worker. Imagine building all these houses to perfection. What does it take to be a good fundi? Do they dream of having such houses? How selfless. Show me the best house in the country, then show me the person whose hands built it. Show me a better definition of unsung heroes. Every Friday at 7:30 p.m. on Wicked Edition.
It's me, Agatha. All right, I'll give you the money. But only to you, and not to Rocco. I don't trust that guy.
Where's Ginny? She's been staying with her mother's close friend. She'll be safe there. I need to finish whatever we started, Dad.
So where's the money?
I have it with me. I'm not giving Fabian the money. Just to you.
As soon as I get the money, I want you to finish off Adele.
What about Fabian?
I'm going to do what has to be done.
We can be strong together because we're sisters. This is so thrilling.
Aren't you all done yet?
Yes, we're done. Sisters!
Invest in Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Luxury you can afford. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Welcome to the sports. When it rains, it pours, goes the old adage. This perfectly describes the current state of the Football Kenya Federation, whose woes are multiplying by the day. The latest tribulation is FKF President Nick Mwendwa being grilled at the Directorate of Criminal Investigations for a second day in a row over financial accountability. Ida Waringa reports on just where and how it went wrong for the country's current football administration that comes to power on the back of a change agenda.
18.
Nick Mwendwa campaigned and won the Football Kenya Federation presidency in 2016 with the slogan Team Change.
21.
Mwendwa took over from the embattled long-term FKF boss Sam Nyamoya, who was prevailed upon not to contest the elections.
Thank you.
The more things change, the more it appears they remain the same.
Move away, everybody.
In December 2015, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations recommended the prosecution of Nyamoya and Secretary General Michael Esakwa following investigations into the Federation's use of funds meant for Harambee Stars' trip to Cape Verde. 5 years later, and the FKF leadership is again on the DCI radar. Mwendwa confirmed to NTV that for the last 2 days he has been grilled at the DCI headquarters over alleged misappropriation of 244 million shillings that the government directed towards AFCON preparations for the national football team. Mwendwa is also on the frying pan over the misappropriation of 125 million shillings that was paid to WTS Media Group Limited for the purchase of an outside broadcast van. The firm went into liquidation and the van was never delivered. The DCI grilling comes in the wake of revelations by Harambee Stars captain Victor Wanyama that the FKF wanted a substantial share of a 50 million shillings bonus reward promised by Deputy President William Ruto to the players for qualifying for the AFCON 2019. Mwendwa is also battling legitimacy issues. His term was to end at the end of February, with elections that were set for December last year being nullified, postponed and cancelled as a result of numerous court cases at the Sports Dispute Tribunal. Under his tenure, Mwendwa pushed through for the expansion of the Kenyan Premier League, a decision that contributed to the departure of South African broadcaster SuperSport. This has seen the once vibrant KPL become a pale shadow of itself, with sponsors giving it a wide berth to the detriment of Kenyan footballers. As he juggles between battling the DCI investigations, the FKF election drama, the FKF takeover of the running of KPL, Mwendwa definitely has his work cut out to keep his initial pledge of bringing change to Kenyan football. Ida Waringa, NTV.
The government has promised to construct a new stadium. Yes, another entrant in the Stadium of Promises. This time, it's the construction of a modern stadium in Kisumu County, which is to be completed in the next 6 to 10 months. Additionally, Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed has promised that the Kipchoge Keino Stadium, that has been under renovation for years, will be ready for use in the next 6 months. Marode Kiru takes us into the arena of promises, games and dwindled hope.
The government has made yet another pledge to construct a new stadium. This time, the promise is the construction of a state-of-the-art stadium at the Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground in Kisumu County. The Sports Cabinet Secretary, Ambassador Amina Mohammed, made the announcement in a media briefing also attended by Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o.
We were directed by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta to put up a stadium on those grounds and make sure that it was a modern, beautiful, befitting stadium for the county of Kisumu. And that's why we are starting that journey today. It's going to be a nice, I think, productive journey that we are going to have.
This pledge comes even as the renovation of the Moi Stadium in Kisumu, which was to be completed in March 2020, is still unfinished.
So, Governor, we will be very frequent visitors to your shows to just make sure that the time frame within which we were requested to complete that work is met.
The Sports CS then undertook an inspection tour of the Kipchoge Keino Stadium in Eldoret. Its renovation started years ago, and the government has issued yet another promise regarding its conclusion.
We are hoping in the next 6-7 months it should be done. Yeah. There's no reason why. If we begin tomorrow,
it's 24 weeks.
If completed in time, the stadium may be in contention to host the trials for Tokyo Olympics planned for 2021, while providing athletes in the Rift a perfect training ground.
Because it's important that we have as many facilities across the country as possible. We are a very, very important sporting nation in the world.
The Jubilee government ascended into power with a campaign pledge to construct 5 new stadia. But for the last 7 years, the issue of stadia has been a riddle the government has been unable to solve. Warote Kiru, NTV.
I hope we're not playing games there. Now, the head of the team organizing the 2022 World Cup, Hassan Al-Tawadi, has pledged that they will run an affordable tournament in Qatar amid fears of a post-pandemic global recession. The World Cup is scheduled to be played in November to December 2022.
Definitely one concern is the economic impact and how it affects the individual. We've always said from day one, this will be an affordable tournament. We want anybody who wants to come to the World Cup to be able to come. But I believe by 2022, I'm optimistic that we would have overcome this pandemic as a human race collectively. I'm optimistic that we will come out of this more resilient as a human race, and it'll be an opportunity for all of us to celebrate.
And as Hassan Al-Tawadi says, we will get over this, inshallah. That does it for NTV Sport and NTV Tonight. Thank you to Flora Tieno, who was on the sign language interpretation, and the team behind this whole broadcast, including David here, who's behind the camera, keeping me company in the studio. My name is Mark Masai. Keep yourself and your family safe.
Allah!